All right, we're already back for another episode of the Rehashables. I know I stayed up late the other night to go see the Mandalorian and Grogu. 9:30 start at IMAX. What time
9:30
was your
start.
movie?
7:30.
Ah, I'm so jealous.
Do
I was,
9:30 with 25 minutes of previews?
dude, it's not like that, man. It's got to be the
It
theater
isn't
you
like
go to. It was like 10 minutes. Saw a few previews, and it got
okay.
started probably around 9:40. But I was freaking exhausted. So, but I
Was
made
it
it. I
was
didn't
it
fall
was
asleep.
it
I was actually like looking back at what happened in the movie at the beginning. And I'm like, oh yeah, did that happen? Because like I was definitely like out of it, but then kind of came to and was fine. And I actually went with some buddies, and one of my buddies probably slept through 95% of the movie. So
so funny? How many bathroom breaks did you have to
no
take?
bathroom breaks, dude. I was coming from the softball field. Like I think I had a bunch of softball stuff all day, and I went home to eat real quick, and then went to the theater. And I don't think I drank a lot. I was probably a little bit dehydrated, so no bathroom breaks. Again, light dozing off, but a good performance by me overall. But I definitely paid for it.
Was it busy?
Um, if I had to guess, it was probably like 15 people in the theater.
Okay, 9:30 showing. Not great.
Yeah, I was
But
surprised I could get three of my buddies to come with me at 9:30 on a Wednesday night, though. So I was proud of that.
so there's four of you
Yeah, four of us. Yeah.
that went. All right, awesome. Yeah, I was 7:30, probably about 30% full at IMAX here at
Yeah.
AMC. Not too far, so nothing crazy. But yeah, So look at us for getting out there, and any reason to go to the movies right now is I still every time I'm at a movie theater, I'm very happy.
Totally.
So
Totally. And I think that we'll talk about Star Wars in general, but I mean, I think I still want to go see Star Wars movies at the theater. I know I didn't see all of them. I don't think I saw Solo in theaters, but I think everything else I had. And so, if there's a Star Wars movie and I can make it happen, I'm going to check it out in theaters.
100%. Now I don't know if you want to get into it now, but like Star Wars, I have such a vivid memory of when they re-released Star Wars in the 90s. I think it was like 97 or whatever, and I remember going to Cinema 8 or whatever in Biddeford and going to all three of those movies. And that was my first, movie theater Star Wars experience. But I think you and I have seen a lot of the other ones together
Yeah. Some
too.
of my like good memories are, I don't know if it was Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith, maybe Revenge of the Sith, that we might have went to like a midnight showing someplace
You and I, yep,
in
yep.
Saco. So like, yeah, it's cool, man. I don't know. It's always been event type movies to go see. I think this one was maybe a little bit to a smaller scale, which we'll get to. But I'm glad we got a chance to see it. Anytime I can go to IMAX too, like IMAX theater is the best, dude. So
It is. It is the best. And, we talked last time about like a series of blockbuster movies coming. And you really put, this one wasn't really high on my list of going to see out of all the blockbuster movies that we talked about. And I'm glad you brought it up to go see it because it really is kind of the kickoff Memorial Day weekend of like the summer movie season now.
yeah, we got
So
a bunch of Rehashables episodes to record over the next few months, and then again at the end of the year. So to me, this is the kickoff too, for sure. I mean, there's been some other movies that have come out recently, but like this, as far as like blockbuster event type movies that I would want to see, this is the first one of the season, and we're in for a good run.
yeah, absolutely. So
So,
want to dive right in?
yeah, so why don't you tell me about your general thoughts of the movies? That's what we're usually doing before we get into the categories. I'd love to hear like what your general thoughts were as you were watching it, as you were driving home. What do you think?
I As I said before, I wasn't going into this fired up. I wasn't like I got a little bit more excited as I got closer to it, but like so my relationship with the Mandalorian is season one I think came out during COVID and like took everyone by storm.
Yeah.
Like
It was
it
like
was
Disney
then
Plus's
Baby
first thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Disney Plus. I think for one of the first series that came out of COVID, and no one knew anything about the series. And then at the end of the first episode, introduced Baby Yoda, Grogu, who wasn't known as Grogu until like, I don't even know if it was that season or season two, but like was incredible television. Was so good. In season two was just as good, if not better. And because you loved all the characters in it, you know what I mean? Like Carl Weathers was like awesome, rest in peace, but he was like so great in it. You met the other Mandalorian people, Bo-Katan, I believe is one of the characters. Like it's just it was really good stuff. I loved it. I thought the way season two ended with Luke Skywalker coming in, and that was
That was
like
the
one of
best.
the best the best, the absolute peak
I don't think that
Mandalorian.
was spoiled for
And
me either. I think I might have.
no, I don't think. Yeah, I had no idea that was happening. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No,
and
that
then
was awesome. I did not watch season 3, and it sounds like you didn't either.
this isn't bad. I don't remember. Like I must have watched part of it because I remember the stuff that some of the stuff, from it. So that's like it wasn't very memorable because I get that mixed up with the Boba Fett show because that kind of turned into Mandalorian halfway through, you know. So
I think the Boba Fett series is what kind of turned me off from like this universe that Mandalorian and Ahsoka all kind of take place, and I did watch that one too. But I was really down on Boba Fett, and I think I might have just been like out on Mandalorian after that, and I definitely did not watch season 3, and I might go back and watch it because I do generally want to be caught up on it. But yeah, I never did, so it is what it is. But I did enjoy those first 2 seasons too.
But then going into this, it's so interesting, that's why we even say this, is people were like, oh, you don't really need to see season 3. You don't need to know much about like the TV shows going into this movie. And that's exactly like what it got. Watched it, I don't get to like best scenes and all that kind of stuff. Like there were times where I'm entertained, and then there were times where I'm like, what are we doing here? And then at the end of the movie, I'm like, what was just accomplished during that movie? And I'm like, nothing was accomplished. Like I didn't learn anything new. It didn't like move me in any direction. I'm like Star Wars or other things like that. I'm like, what did I just watch for 2 hours and 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was just like a side quest for those guys. It was just like people have described it as a extended episode of the show, and that's probably a fair description. It was just like one of Mandalorian and Grogu's adventures that just didn't tie into like much bigger of a story. Obviously, got a chance to see a little bit of the Hutts and have their backstory, and I'm sure we'll talk all about that. So I guess that was cool. But I would have appreciated like a bigger tie-in to the overall Star Wars lore. And I'll tell you one thing. I don't know that I love Grogu. I don't know what your feeling on Grogu is. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I was thinking about it more. Yeah, I mean, just like I like the idea of what Grogu is or Baby Yoda. Like, yeah, I thought it was great at the beginning, maybe a little bit mysterious. What is this? But it's just like, it's like a little stuffed animal on screen, and it moves like not a real thing, and it just doesn't convey emotion to me in a way that I think is great. So for me, it's, I don't know, I'm out on Grogu. It's been a good run for a few seasons. Obviously, Grogu probably sells a ton of merch, and kids love Baby Yoda, and it's going to be a thing moving forward. But it's just like all I see is a puppet on screen when I see it. I have no idea how they film Baby Yoda, but it's just like it takes me out of it when I see him.
So it is a puppet. It is practical. You know what I mean? Which I love, not CGI. See, I'm the opposite. I think Grogu is one of my favorite parts of this movie. The issue I have, because the one issue I had with Grogu, and I understand is Yoda species, whatever he is, can like live hundreds of years, and there hasn't been a ton of progression from Grogu season 1. And I wish he was talking a little bit more. I wish, he's still a baby, you know what I mean? Even though we're 4 versions of Grogu into this. So I really like Grogu. He's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie.
You have a Grogu stuffed animal, I think, in your bed that you sleep with, right?
I think I do with Marin. It was one of the first things we got for Marin because it came out just when she was born, and that was like gifts I was giving away, and stuff like that. So for me, and I like him because I like the practicality of it, because I left this and I was just, when I left, I'm like, God, that was a lot of CGI. You know what I mean?
You thought that? Okay. I think that's what I feel Star Wars now, dude. Like, I think Star Wars is like all on these big screens, and like I think all of Mandalorian was filmed inside these like very specialized like screen rooms that aren't really ever outdoors or anything, and they just like put the backgrounds onto things, and it looks good, but it's definitely a certain thing.
Not even the planet stuff and all that is fine, but there was just so many damn creatures in this thing that were just like, it was all the Hutts were CGI, you know what I mean, and all like the.
I thought those were people. I thought those were people in suits.
Those are really good costumes. Like it was just like almost like reminding me back of like Phantom Menace, the prequels, how heavy those were in CGI. Because then like even like Force Awakens and Andor, we can talk about that too. Like I thought they were going closer back to like a practicality of it all, and it was just a lot of like CGI with no stakes. So
We'll
that's
get
why.
into a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't love the movie overall. Like we just, if you wanted my overall impressions, like it wasn't like my favorite movie. I'm glad I saw it. There were some cool parts that we'll get to. I'm hoping that this is part of some bigger plan, which I've heard a little bit of, but we can get to that too. So just okay. But it is what it is.
Absolutely, it didn't do great. It didn't do great at the box office. So
Man,
I
like
think
I hear that it did exceed their expectations or did do good, but then I hear that it didn't, and it's like who knows who's trying to control the narrative. But I had heard the opposite.
but I should be their like target audience, and I was not too fired up for this movie. You know what I mean? And so yeah. Anyway, let's dive right in. We can dive into this stuff.
All right, let's do it. We got a lot of freaking categories to run through. All right.
Yeah.
And the first one is going to be the Hill Valley Clock Tower Award for the best scene or sequence in the movie. And I have a winner. And as I was doing this, like I didn't have like a ton of honorable mentions for all of them. I mean, I could put together some honorable mentions, but I definitely have a winner. What do you got? Do you have a lot of stuff for this one?
I have four things for this, and I've done a 180 on like my winner as well, thinking about it more and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna dive right into my.
Yeah, just dive into an honorable mention. I'll share one.
It's
too.
not like your winner. I thought the first like 20 to 25 minutes of this movie were freaking awesome. Like I loved it.
So are we talking a scene or a sequence or 1/4 of the movie?
Okay, no, I'm talking about the pre-title sequence. Okay, the scene on, I don't know if it was Hoth. I can't tell if it was Hoth.
Is this is the scene that I was like comatose for, awake, definitely awake, but definitely like out of it.
But like I would say that's a scene, yeah, but before the titles came out, that whole like battle thing, it was like 15, 20 minutes long, okay, or so, and then I liked some of the stuff afterwards. But it was just the Mandalorian being a badass and like coming in the way he was taking out stormtroopers was awesome. But I also loved the idea of the like Imperial officer guy like being on the run at post Empire and like trying, but still like believing in it and like long hail the Empire and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that concept is so cool. And I was hoping that was the direction they were going to go with the movie. And it wasn't really at all.
Not so much.
But that had like almost like an Andor concept feel to it. And I really like that whole sequence.
Yeah.
So
I wish I remembered it more clearly. I just remember like vivid, like specific things with those machines with the long legs. I forget what they're called. What are those things called?
I thought that sequence, and when I remember that happening, I'm like, oh, I might be like pleasantly surprised from this movie. So.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. So for me, I enjoyed it was brief, like it was a brief scene, but the introduction of that guy Embo, who's the dude with the hat that captured Mandalorian, and like he was a badass. So like when he captured the Mandalorian. And, he was on top of the building and, I thought that was like a cool scene. I was like, who is this guy? And then he obviously was able to capture the Mandalorian. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that scene a lot.
Completely agree. That had a really cool feel of like him like running around. He was like running really fast. You can't see where he was. When Mando put like the night vision like mode on his helmet. Very cool scene.
So, hey, I might have missed it in my tiredness, but I had to look up that guy's name was Embo. Did that say that in the movie?
I don't think they did.
Yeah, so you didn't know who the hell I'm talking about first, but you obviously know now.
I know that we were talking about.
But it's like there's a lot of creatures and people that I don't know the names to.
100%.
Which is hard in these kind of movies.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I thought that. I completely agree with that.
I'm just like, that guy or that creature, that one that looked like this, and So, anyways, that's the best way that I could describe it at first. Kind of reminded me of like Raiden from Mortal Kombat with his like round hat, but he was badass, dude. His name's Embo.
Awesome design.
Yeah,
awesome design. Absolutely. Next for me, I thought the scene was actually pretty good. I liked Hugo, who was the 4-armed monkey chef thing on the plan thing. Voiced, you know who that was voiced by?
No.
Martin Scorsese.
Wow. Okay. We actually were talking about who it was. I didn't know that we didn't like come up with that. but he was
But that was
noticeable.
Martin Scorsese, and I really
I
like
saw
that.
his name. I saw his name at the beginning, and I didn't
Yeah.
think. I mean, obviously, like I didn't think like, oh, who's he voicing? I thought maybe he'd be in the background someplace, and never thought much about it. But that was his role.
It's it's interesting that he's the voice of that. But I like that planet and that like I like what first off, very weird to say, but what he was making looked delicious. Like that sandwich that gave over Grogu, sign me up for that. That looked fantastic.
That's
And I
awesome.
like the whole his whole energy and like Mando giving him money and him still not wanting to talk about it and like the fear of this coin guy they were trying to get or whatever. Or anyway, it was good. It was good. I like that scene. So that
Yeah.
was on my
Anything else
so
before you get to a winner?
yeah, I got two more. Well, one more honorable mention than a winner. The giant snake in the water scene. Like the only scene where Mando had his helmet off, and it was Pedro Pascal, which we can get to in a minute. But I like that. That looked cool. I talked about not liking like the CGI and stuff like that, but like that snake in the water and that whole scene looked, I thought, really cool. And
You're
it
all
was
over the
well done.
place. That wasn't a practical one either.
Yeah, that was not a real snake. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was not a real snake. But
It
I thought
reminded
that
me
was a
of
cool scene.
older Star Wars movies with like the pit and dropping
Yes.
guys in and a little homage to that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
That was Pedro Pascal's one day of work, I think, in this movie. So
That's what I wanted to get into. I was going to talk about that. How
you want to
much
talk
is
about it now, or
because
can we talk about it later on? I mean,
we talk
it's,
about it now. I think
yeah, let's talk
like
about it now. I mean,
he can't be like how many days of work did he film this movie? Right, like
he wasn't. I believe that they
he's
filmed
not
that
the guy.
whole. I filmed that they filmed that whole movie without him, and he voiced
Because
over all the stuff. Like I
there's an actor credited to playing
Mandalorian.
Mando in this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, dude, it's like I couldn't stop thinking about it, and it's an unfortunate thing of that character because he's an awesome character, but it's too bad the lore is such that he can't take off his helmet, and he only does that, in that one scene. So it's a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, I bet you that's the only. I bet he worked a freaking day and made $20 million. I don't know how much he gets paid for that sort of thing, but it was weird for sure.
yeah, yeah. I just find it really interesting, and I like that Mandalorian lore. That's what I wish this movie was. Like a Mandalorian. Like I loved like what he had to do in season one when they took off his helmet and he had to like go like do a punishment. You know, like you went like the other Mandalorian, the one that was like engraving stuff or whatever, and like had to like repent for what he taking off his helmet and like that lore is so interesting, and it was none of that in this movie.
I do agree with you. I do think the lore is interesting. I do think it makes it hard to connect to the character in a
Yes.
movie when you have the helmet on the whole time. You know, but yeah, the lore is super cool. I think that was always a great part of the TV show. But it's hard to connect with characters that you never see their face, in my opinion.
And when you have someone, I mean, Pedro Pascal 5 years ago was popular, but not like I think he only had like Oberyn Martell like really on his like resume, and now he's like one of the bigger stars in Hollywood. So it's tough to make that. But I will say, the Mandalorian suit could be a top five.
Awesome
Five
design.
suit, like
Awesome design.
design, so cool.
Badass for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Do you want me to go to my
What do you
winning
got?
scene?
Yeah, go to your winner.
Dude, I've been thinking about how I'm going to even try to describe this, but like my favorite scene was when they were trying to find Janu, and Janu is like the guy that ran the fighting pit or whatever. They're trying to find him. They talked to the guy with the horns that were facing down, like guy kind of looked like from Monsters or whatever that movie, like Howie Mandel's character, but the other.
Mixed between Howie Mandel character and legend.
Yeah, so he dealt with that guy, and then like when they started fighting, like I thought that was like my favorite fight scene personally. It reminded me a little bit of The Matrix Reloaded. There was a lot going on, and I just thought it was like a badass performance by the Mandalorian, ending with that guy getting his horn cut, and it was great. I was like, wow, they're not messing around.
You're absolutely right, and see that's the other stuff like too, like the Star Wars lore. So like that guy, do you remember the Mandalorian episode? I think it was in season one where he was like in a prison on a spaceship or whatever, and with like four other creatures, like, but they were all like practical creatures, not CGI creatures. And
Was
one
that
of
guy
them
one of
was
them?
not that guy, but that species
Yeah. Yeah.
was one of them. And because that species you see very, very quickly in A New Hope at the cantina or
I know
whatever.
what you're talking about.
And you know what I'm talking about.
I know the
It
scene you're
flashes,
talking about. Like, I don't remember all the different characters.
and that's one of the characters. But like that species is like supposedly super strong, like super, super strong, super good fighters and that sort of thing. So that was the kind of stuff where I wish there was more of, and I agree that scene was awesome. And I really liked everything on that, like the salt currency and like how that bad guy like was, and he maybe seemed like he could be a really good big bad, and then freaking all of a sudden it's like he's gone. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Captured.
Yep. So, anyways, that's
So
me. What do you got?
you and I could not be further aside on this, and like
I'm sure it was some obscure moment.
its favorite scene slash more memorable, and this isn't like I wasn't like, oh my god, I love this scene so much, because I actually kind of did like a 180 on this, but like, and this is where I disagree with you about Grogu. I thought the Grogu scene where it was just kind of him for 20 minutes trying to keep Mando alive and like getting food, I thought that was like actually kind of, I was more entertained by that than probably like 50% of the other movie stuff.
This is why we have a great podcast together, because we couldn't see any more opposite of each other when it comes to that sort of stuff.
So you hated that scene.
Hated that scene. That's my Jar Jar Binks award character scene or subplot you'd toss. Like, number one, get that out. I was like dying. I thought it was awful. He's building a nest on the Mandalorian, and it was all with the little people, and it looked like they were kind of like stop motion the way it was filmed. I was like, what am I watching? Like, I did not enjoy that at all.
I thought it was kind of like him being like resourceful and like doing his
yeah,
own
it is,
thing.
but it's also I'm looking at a stuffed animal, throw grass on top of the Mandalorian.
But like you like other puppet stuff. You liked Rocky. You liked Rocky and Project Hail Mary. You like freaking, I don't know, other.
He looks like a real character. Like, when I say that Grogu to me looks like a stuffed animal that you pull from Marin's bed, like, that is what it feels like I'm looking at. Rocky in Project Hail Mary is like a rock alien creature that I guess is done with a puppet, and that's fine. But like, Grogu looks like a stuffed animal that I'm supposed to believe has, force powers and is actually moving around. It doesn't connect.
You feel that way when you look at
Yoda
Luke,
like talks, and I mean, yeah, it's not the best of special effects. I'm telling you, Grogu looks like a stuffed animal to me. I don't even know what to say. Like, he just looks like a freaking stuffed animal.
See, I thought his like conversation with like the guy in the rocking chair was like good. I just really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And again,
we like what we like. It's not my favorite scene.
In all the freaking movie, there probably wasn't too. I'm surprised I was able to get this many scenes. But I thought that was cool. The one issue I had with it is like, obviously there's no way Mando is dying. You know what I mean? So like the stakes aren't like
so there's no real stakes at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, something's gonna happen, and like 4 days went by. You know what I mean? But like, it felt a little bit more like Star Warsy to me in that sense, with like the Force and all that stuff. So anyway,
well, I'm glad you enjoyed that lovely scene.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, I honestly think that they should we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a couple minutes. But okay, we're gonna move on to the next category. You good? Catch you mid sip. All right, Bill Pullman Independence Day Speech Award, best one-liner or speech. I got to be honest with you, I have nothing. To me, this wasn't memorable.
Nothing.
Like, I guess one thing comes to mind, but I wouldn't give any. Like, if you want to say like, is it Rotta? Is that how you pronounce it? Had like a little mini monologue about how he wants to be different than the Hutts and not rule by fear and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, we can talk about his character later on, but like, that's the closest thing that I remember. I think Mandalorian said that is the way or whatever. This is the way, like one time. But
this is the way.
This is the way. Yeah, that's how important of it. I mean, this isn't "I'll be back" or some other. It is definitely the classic Mandalorian line, but that's already been said before. So, anyways, my opinion on that category. Do you have something more memorable?
Two. There was one on the. I call it the Japanese planet. It was the salt currency planet. It just looked very like an Asian planet, like kind of looked like that. For it, do we fight or do we run? Is what he said to Grogu. I thought that was a good line to him. And then the winner,
and then Grogu gave him a blank stare.
And no, Grogu, he like gaga and cooed, and then like looked at him lovingly with his eyes. And then like when they were talking about on the final planet, the Hutt planet, whatever the hell it's called. Um, when he said the old protect the young and the young protect the old. This is the
Yeah,
way, and that
yeah.
was like a good. That was a good line, and it gets like the Mandalorian, you know, I'll be back line in
You
there.
have to you have to insert it in there. It'll be in every
It
Mandalorian related
has.
thing. Yeah,
This is the way was like a thing 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like that was a thing when it happened. And God, again, it was so cool back then, and it just kind of lost its lore. But yeah,
I love it. So okay,
okay,
cool. Gonna move on then quickly. Jar Binks
yeah.
Award. We already talked about my thoughts on this character, scene, or subplot you'd toss. Told you mine. I think the whole movie should be renamed The Mandalorian, if I'm being completely honest with you, and just move forward that way. That's like my honest to God
Are
opinion.
you
But
saying you Grogu should be cut from this movie?
I think he should be minimized, like a lot. Like it should be Mandalorian focused, and Grogu's around, and he's on his back at some point, or he's holding him under his arm, or he's holding him when he's sleeping, or something like that. But like a stuffed animal. But like I want to see the Mandalorian and minimal Grogu, because I think that was better back in that first season of the show too. It wasn't like he was always like walking around and stuff.
Well, the first season was all about him getting Grogu back. You know what I mean? And like, so that's like the emotional attachment. Now Grogu, you know, you try to like wonder like how smart Grogu is. I understand that, he doesn't know how to fly a plane, doesn't quite understand like follow directions, but like is smart enough to keep him alive for 4 days.
Hey,
But
I gotta say, real quick, you just made me think of something. Because one of my actual favorite scenes was the one with the buttons on the friggin' plane. You know what I'm talking about? Where he
yeah,
pressed the button to fire
of
the
course.
missile, and then he was like, no, no, no. He's like, this one now, and then he just goes to the button right next to it. That's like completely opposite of the way he described it. And I actually like laughed out loud in that scene. I thought that was pretty good. But yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I
he's
completely
not super
disagree.
technical with that sort of stuff.
I completely disagree with you in that sense, but that's fine. That's totally fine. You have anything else, or
So
is that your winner?
no, that's my one and only.
Okay, so I want to get me. I only have one. I have one winner too. Rotta the Hutt is literally I thought a terrible character. I
You
didn't
know,
like how he looked. I didn't like how he talked. The fact that Jeremy Allen White is the voice that doesn't even sound like him, altered his voice. He was a character I thought it was so bad. It's funny. It's called the Jar Jar Binks Award because he is probably the worst Star Wars character
you
since
know.
Jar Jar Binks.
Hey, I actually apologize, not to Grogu because I still would ultimately cut him, but I think I was so focused on my dislike that I forgot what you're saying, and I couldn't agree with you more. From the first time we saw him, anytime he spoke, his voice, I hated everything he had to say. Like I couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you.
He is a jacked Jabba the Hutt species, whatever the hell they're freaking called.
Yeah, Jabba's
Just
son.
like Jabba's son speaks perfect English. Absolutely fine. Jabba didn't speak any English. So where is he getting his lessons? Is he like doing Rosetta Stone somewhere? Like where is he getting his English? Because like that drove me nuts. Like that, and again, the way he looked. I know he was like the good guy, like a protagonist, like in the whole film. And I thought like him like rolling around on the beach with Grogu, and the way he like he did nothing for me.
I could not agree with you more. I total mess up. Speaking of Grogu, here's my Grogu right here. This is Benny Boy. So I'm the Mandalorian. This is my Grogu. He's sleeping on
There
me,
you go.
but he might go
See,
back to bed in a
very,
second.
very. That's awesome. That's great. I'll just screenshot that and use that, and then alter it to Mando and Grogu for the screen for this. But
Love it.
it's
Uh,
but
yeah,
Jeremy Allen White, a legit like Emmy award winning actor, very talented. It makes no sense how he's associated with this.
yeah, stupid character. I wonder if like as they were like finalizing the special effects, they were like, man, we're freaking killing this right now. Like this guy is such a good character. Like people are gonna love this guy. Like they must have been like, wow, this is freaking terrible. I can't believe this is what we have to put out there in the theaters. Like I actually think, if this movie's considered a failure, like honestly, like that his role in it might be like one of the big reasons why people didn't connect with it.
to begin with was so, I just didn't like it. Like I loved, and I remember there being such like a cool lore around Jabba in Return of the Jedi. He came in a little bit. No, he was. I don't think he was even in Empire. Um, and he was just such a cool character, and it wasn't CGI at that point. It was like just a really cool thing. And I just thought like this is just so dumb. I can't. They were doing his son right now, and the twins and all that whole stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't think the twins were. I mean, the twins were just showed much less, and they're different. Like I would prefer them as designs and Hutt characters compared to Rotta. But yeah, dude, freaking epic fail on that one.
It lost me when they showed his image of him like jacked. Like that lost me immediately. I'm like, what is this? How is he so jacked? Like he was like literally like ripped. He had abs. No Hutt has abs. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Hey, anyway. I have another one to throw in here. Although I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was gonna put this in like plot hole, dumb decision, makes no sense moment for the next award, which we'll get to. Because I think this makes no sense in the design of the movie, so maybe it fits in this category better. But like, why do they have a bunch of 100-year-old X-wing fighter pilots? Like, they were all elderly people flying those friggin' planes, flying those things. Like, what dude is like Sigourney Weaver's like 75, other old dude with gray hair. Like, it's just like these are the fighter pilots. These are the guys that we have. Okay.
This is my plot hole, my Rocky one. Insane.
Okay, so you can have it for the next category because I had it for the next category.
For plot hole, dumb decision category.
Okay, then we're moving on to that one. We'll put this as part of that. So we are firmly into wait, Rocky's fighting on Christmas for no money in the Russia Award for plot holes, dumb decisions, make no sense moment. This is where I had this one. Like, why do we have old X-wing fighter pilots?
This is my winner. It made no sense. I think one of the old guys was like the original, like in Return of the Jedi. I think he looked familiar. So I'm pretty sure that was the connection there. The fact that Sigourney Weaver was flying that was absolutely banana land. Then on top of that, the Hutts just died. Okay, the Hutts were just eaten by the snake thing. Why are they blowing up the building to kill everyone else that's there? Like, why the Hutts are dead? Like, why are they going in and gonna blow everything up now? They pose no threat.
Ruthless.
Like, just they're, and that's Sigourney Weaver. I mean, she was in Avatar. Love her. You know what I mean? But just again, didn't make sense of why having her in this movie for what she did. You know, but that drove me crazy. When I saw them driving that guy in white hair, I'm like, how long was that flight? And they just are here now. They're blowing up shit for no reason because the Hutts are already dead. Like, why are they blowing up the building?
I love it.
So, anyway.
I love that we both brought that up. Weird choice. Did you have any other ones for that category?
Yeah, I have a few others. And some we already talked about. Why? You probably were asleep during this part, but they're in that first opening sequence, and they mentioned it. Why did Mando kill the target? Like he blew up the ship for the guy who's trying to get away, and it's like, why did he kill him? Why couldn't he either gone after him or having his sidekick go get him? He's killed him, and now that guy's dead and can give him no more information, which is what Sigourney Weaver says to him.
But which is always the stupid things that happens in movies and TV shows. Like that's probably like the most common dumb decision that you see. It's like kill the guy that has all the information. That would just make the whole freaking thing make a lot more sense.
Yeah, 100%. Next thing, I don't know, and this kind of drove me crazy. Because we talk about season 2. I think it was season 2 of Mandalorian, and the peak Mandalorian. Do you remember the character Moff Gideon, played by Gus Fring, in like the black saber, and like the lore around all that stuff, and how awesome that was? And then I think Bo-Katan was one of the other characters they brought in. How can you not have anything to do with that storyline, which was so cool and so interesting in a Mandalorian movie? You know, when you have, it's such a miss, I think.
Yeah, dude. Like, I guess now's the time to talk about. Like, they have all kinds of characters to draw from. They have like General Thrawn, I think's his name, and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like they built this Mandalorian adjacent world. Boba Fett, like there's something that they were building with all these overlapping series, and this is the first like actual movie. It's like pull some of that in there. I have heard that and this might be like total rumor that's not true, and I'm falling for it, but like I had heard that there is like plans to like continue these movies with like bringing those people in, and it's going after General Thrawn, and that's how it culminates. But man, it would have been nice to get a little bit of a sprinkle of that in this movie. Could have used it.
Why would you save that? You know what I mean? Like you're trying to hit a home run on this and get some
If you want to
attention.
go to it, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, are you trying to jump to an Avengers Endgame in the first movie? If that's what you pictured that as, I guess, but something, something like a little nugget.
Yeah. So that's it. I thought Moff Gideon. My winner was the old people and blowing up the Hutts thing. The only other thing is so dumb. When Sigourney Weaver, they get back to the planet at the end of the movie. She looks at Mando and goes, "You were right. Couldn't trust the Hutts. They were working on the other side of the Empire." No shit. They're like the most notorious bad guys in this like universe. Oh, you were right. We shouldn't have trusted the Hutts. Like, why would they ever trust the Hutts at all? That
Fair
made
point.
no sense
I love that
at all.
I do have one more thing that I just thought of, and it caught me in the moment. But they were that last fight in the pit when Mandalorian and Rotta were in the pit fighting all those creatures.
Yes.
Those things got out of there way too easily. Just so you know, all it took was like one of them going into that thing, and the next thing you know, they're up and they're getting one. It's like, come on, dude, that hadn't happened yet. They haven't thought about trying that yet. Like, it was just a little easy for them to get up into the crowd.
And that planet, honestly, is gone now. Those monsters, I think, killed probably everything on that planet, and they are running amok. Because there was no sign of those things like slowing down whatsoever. And those monsters looked pretty scary. But at that point, I'm like, I'm just watching a video game. When I was watching that, I'm like, I'm just literally watching. Give me my stuffed animal Grogu sitting on Mando's shoulder 100 times out of 100 than that CGI fight thing I watched. So,
I love it. Okay, so next award, Han Solo award, scene stealing character. I only got one.
I have 3. One I mentioned. I thought Hugo was great. I really liked Hugo. So that was one. You're gonna hate my second one, and maybe it's the same winner. No, those little monkey guys, like little guys.
Those guys.
I liked them. I thought they were funny.
What's the type of videography where you like take a still picture of someone, then you go and like move their leg forward, and then take another picture, and then move the other one forward? What? Stop motion?
It's not. Yeah.
Like claymation or something like that, and they do like the Santa Claus TV show, like when we were kids that way. Like that's what I felt like I was watching when all of them and Grogu were on stage in their little spaceship. I just pictured them moving the spaceship like an inch, taking a picture, moving another inch, them crawling in, raising their hand. Like that's what I felt like I was watching.
I thought they were funny. They were. I actually think that. Okay, which ones do you like more, them or Ewoks?
Ewoks.
Okay, you like the Ewoks more.
Well, I mean, it's more nostalgia speaking than anything, and obviously, like, you know.
And that's where I was kind of watching this movie, and I'm almost 40 years old. You're a little older than me, and I'm like, would an 8-year-old me love this movie? You know what I mean? Would 10-year-old me love this movie? And they probably would. You know what I mean? And those things I think are for the kids. So that's that. So that's my 2. I have one winner. Why don't you go ahead with your winner?
So my winner is that guy Embo.
Me too.
That I was telling you about that captured Mandalorian. From the first time they showed him, I think it was kind of like one of those shots where I think maybe the ship was flying by and you could see him in the forefront looking at it, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? To every other time that I saw him on screen and just his design, I was like, that guy. Like I was drawn to that dude, and I thought he was visually cool to look at. There's probably a lot more there. But anyways, he stole every scene for me. And I'm trying to think of who else would even be in that category. I don't know.
Well, I see you 2 of the design thing, but you're talking about, we're still on the Han Solo award, right? Yeah, I have him too. He's a robot, right?
I don't know. I didn't get a good feel for it. They never like showed his face very well. Was he a robot?
I think he was a robot. I think it was a droid is the proper term. But yeah, I have him too. And I thought the second he came on, I'm like, this actually feels like a formidable opponent to Mando. And I thought that was, and he won. And he won a lot. In that fight they had, like that part, I hated the Hutts falling and like that whole, and like Rotta just doing like rolls around the entire time. But the fight between those Mando and your guy was a cool fight. You
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Anyway,
that's
so
it.
yeah. Yep. Me too.
You want next one? All right, next one. Adonis Creed Award. Character who deserves their own movie or spinoff. I feel like
Yep.
there's a lot here.
I got 3. I don't know if you got any.
I don't even have a winner. But I mean, I have a bunch. Like you could make a case for that guy Embo to have his own one. I won't say he's a winner, but like he could have his own freaking spinoff. I'd watch that probably out of all the things. What else do you got? I mean, I got a few more I can joke around about.
I have Zeb. His name's Zeb. He was like Mando's like right hand, like blue. I think it was a blue monkey kind of alien guy or whatever. So I guess he's from the Attack of the Clones, or he's from the animation stuff. And I guess it's like
Clone Wars. The Clone Wars, probably.
Clone Wars is a real badass character in that. So I'd like to know a little bit more about him, because when he was fighting at like the Salt Planet, he was kicking ass. He was like really like a badass sidekick guy. So that's one. You ever want to go, or do you have another?
Yeah. So just because I think these people could have a spinoff doesn't mean like I like their characters or I thought that they were good, but like there could be a whole spinoff about the Twin Hutts, and doing like what their backstory is outside of their role in this movie. Like that could be a thing. Not that I necessarily want it, so maybe like an honorable mention,
like an animated thing. I
feel like there's stories there's more to their story than what is in just this movie. So you know what I mean, there's probably some stories to tell. Maybe like with the Hutts in general,
That's fair. Absolutely fair.
What else you got?
So again, not so much like this guy, but the idea behind it. I mentioned him earlier. That first Imperial officer guy that Mando was going to get. I am just so fascinated with the Empire being done and them going, and all these like believers are going to the outskirts of the galaxy and still holding these meetings and like trying to get the because the Empire comes back. We know that because of the Force Awakens. So it would be cool to get like that story, almost like an Andor version story, but like from the Empire building back up to get back to where they are.
I think people want shows like that or stories like that in the Star Wars universe.
Absolutely, 100%. So that was it. And then you have a winner or anyone else?
Yeah, I guess my winner, if I was going to give any, is that guy Janu. That guy has some stories to tell as like the crime boss guy that has the pit, but also he was, I don't know if you picked this up, I did it notice in my research that he's also like the Imperial officer that they were looking for the whole time. Like he's kind of having double life. So anyways, he could have some cool stories to tell.
That's a great one. That's a good one. But mine is the bounty hunter guy, and I hate just picking him again. But like like you said, I just be really fascinated with his backstory or spinoff and him being he's just so cool.
Well, I mean, Star Wars. The best thing about Star Wars is some of the cool design characters that they have. Darth Maul just had this animated show on Disney Plus. I didn't watch a second of, but like that dude, he has that show because his design is so cool. And this is like one of those guys that has a really cool design, and you would just want to see what he can do and learn more about his character. So, I mean, I think that's the winner. A good winner, I should say, at least.
Me too. All right. Now, go ahead to the final one, or the final.
Yeah. The final big one, I guess. Jack Burton Award, MVP of the movie. What do you got?
I only have one, and I don't have a curveball. I don't have I have a second director of photography for this movie, or something like that. It is
the Spanish version,
My winner for this was Grogu. You know what I mean? I think again, like, is it for this movie or is it for like the Mandalorian universe as a whole? But like what they built with him, and whether you like it or agree with it or not, but like when my 5-year-old knows who Grogu is and can say Grogu and like, and like know, like we'll see Grogu knows it, then like that's it. And the only reason why I say he win because he is going to give them $1 billion just in merchandise sales from this movie. You know what I mean? And other than that, I really couldn't think of who the hell could win this movie. So I'm anxious to see who you said.
Isn't it funny? Because the show is called The Mandalorian and Grogu, and you went with Grogu and I went with The Mandalorian. You know what I mean? So like to me, like Mandalorian is an iconic character in Star Wars. Like I would put him up there with anyone. Like I think he has a great story with great lore, a great look, and just badass fighting. Like to me, like I wanted to see like more of the Mandalorian. I don't love that he doesn't take his helmet off, but that's just again is what it is. But to me, it's like it's funny that you said it was like an easy pick because it just shows like we have different tastes and things, and that's awesome. That's why it's great. But like I wouldn't even consider Grogu for a second to be MVP. Like to me, it's like this is like a Mandalorian movie.
Yeah, I hear. I get it. It's again they're the two leads of the movie, and it's hard to disagree with what you're saying. I'm just saying from a yeah popularity standpoint, Grogu is still like just unbelievably popular from a selling standpoint.
From a popularity point of view, if that was the category, we can add one for like the Zach Morris Award for most popular character.
Well, Grogu also saved Mandalorian. Mandalorian wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for Grogu. You know what I mean? And that Venom would have gotten him. So all it took was that little mixture of medicine that guy in the rocking chair made, and like that's all it took. And a little force healing.
4 days and a friggin' bird's nest on top of him, and then he.
It was funny when he kept trying to put him in the log, and he kept hitting his head. That was funny.
So, all right, Shawshank Redemption Award. Will this movie matter in 10 years?
Not at all. I don't think it'll matter. I don't think it will matter in the grand scheme. I mean, it's crazy to think that it's been 7 years since the Star Wars movie has come out. But it's just like when you saw Andor. Yeah, it's funny how Andor was probably my favorite show of last year. Like the best. You know what I mean? Absolutely incredible television. And then this comes out and it's like barely moves the needle. I just don't think this will stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Because no plot happened. That thing moved forward.
Nothing. They didn't tease anything. Was there an after credit scene? I left. I was exhausted.
Not that I know. I left. Yeah.
So like that was what was great about some of the early Marvel movies where they had like these after credit scenes that kind of just made you look forward to what was next. And there really isn't anything. I mean, the only way, like to me, this is ultimately that this one movie won't matter in 10 years. It'll probably go down as one of the worst Star Wars movies, right? I see it down there with like Solo. I mean, nothing will be worse than Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion.
But Rise of Skywalker is the worst. That is universally the worst.
Maybe one of the worst things that my eyes have ever seen. But yeah, anyways, the only way it would matter is if they went on to create this mini Mandalorian cinematic universe within Star Wars that led to some really cool movies, and you'd point back to like, it all started with the Mandalorian and Grogu, in that first movie, but it would be kind of a footnote, and that's a big if that ever happens.
Yeah, 100% agree. What's next for them is they have this Star Wars Starfighter movie coming out with Ryan Gosling.
Which would be awesome.
I don't know anything about it other than that title. You know what I mean? But
I'm sure it's gonna be great.
There's proof that in this universe you can do great storytelling and make great content, and Andor is that.
So I don't think we're gonna do any more categories beyond that. I think the last one we've been doing, the rehash verdict, I think that's just something we got to move on from. I think Will It Matter in 10 Years is a good way to wrap up the discussion, put a bow on it. Ultimately, glad I saw the movie and won't be telling the grandkids about it anytime, down the road.
Absolutely.
I don't think. Yeah. So what do we got next?
What we have next is Disclosure Day, which is coming out in 4 weeks. I believe end of June or so. And I am now trying to stay away from any more trailers, anything else from it. Early reviews are in for people that have seen it, and it's getting very positive reviews. So I'm very anxious for that one.
Yeah, it's just like it's at the stage of like vibe type reviews where it just gives like short, social media type takes on the movie, and just not like full in-depth written review type things, but all of the stuff that you're seeing and that sort of buzz is good. Like I'm definitely looking forward to it. That movie was made for me. And Steven Spielberg, are you kidding me? Yeah. What's the last meaningful Steven Spielberg movie?
Well, he did Fablemans a few years ago. That was like, I don't know if it was meaningful, but like
in pop culture, you think? Because I don't even know what that is.
That's a bit his story. But I mean, obviously, just think of the classics from 70s to like Saving Private Ryan is like such a heater.
Yeah,
But you're
so
right.
is that like the last thing that like moved the needle for Steven Spielberg in pop culture consciousness? When
like
was
War of the
Saving
Worlds,
Private Ryan?
Saving Private Ryan, Masters of the Air.
Like,
Yeah, I
if you
mean,
didn't say Saving Private Ryan, I probably would go back to freaking Jurassic Park. Like I know he did iRobot. I know he did that 8mm or eight. What was that one? It was like a kind of like old school eight.
yeah. Yeah, that was good. Nothing like crazy, but yes.
That was great.
Oh,
I wish that it was better. It was kind of like it reminds me of Stranger Things before Stranger Things, but like nothing like that. Kind of like the whole country and world were like, wow, Steven freaking Spielberg crushed it. And I feel like this could be a good return to form for him.
Ready Player One. That's crazy. He did Ready Player One.
Ooh, I
He
like
did. It was Lincoln. Don't forget, he did Lincoln. You know what I mean?
He
But
did
that
Lincoln?
wasn't like what?
He did Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he did Lincoln. He also did, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was freaking terrible. You know what I mean? But already back to 2002, which is like Catch Me If You Can. You know what I mean? Which was awesome.
Really like that, but that's not like a blockbuster. That is a great, very rewatchable movie. I actually freaking love that movie.
Yeah,
it's like I don't even think of him when I think of that. So what does that tell you? So,
but yeah, it's probably Saving Private Ryan, 1998.
Yeah. So hey, I'm all in, dude. I'm ready to see it. I hope it ends up living up to the hype, but that'll be the next pod that we do.
Yeah, I know, and there's so much right now. I'm still talking about it last time, but Obsession. I'm trying to find a way. It might be streaming soon. Who the hell I know? Because I don't know what their deal was. But Obsession
find itself to stream.
And then Backrooms. I might be getting to go see that in the next couple of weeks because that's getting great reviews. And then as far as TV goes, we're Hacks is finishing. I think tonight we'll finish.
Series finale. Finishing
series finale. Season finale of Friends and Neighbors. Sneaky, probably one of my favorite shows. I really like Friends and Neighbors a lot.
That's awesome. I gotta watch it one of these days.
Yep, we started Widow's Bay, which is getting great reviews. You would like that show a lot.
That's is that on what?
That's on Apple.
Is James Marsden in that?
No, James Marsden in Friends and Neighbors.
I thought he's in something else too. But okay, that's cool.
No, your boy Matthew Rhys or whatever is in
that one. Okay, yeah.
Is in that one. And then I just recently watched the Shawn Michaels documentary.
How was it?
It was awesome. A lot of stuff to do with is more recent involvement with NXT, but it was good. Definitely worth checking out. Good wrestling content. So
I love that, dude. I have to watch that. I just gotta log into Peacock and just do it.
I know.
But okay, well, good stuff, buddy. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we got a chance to see the movie. Going to be a lot of fun stuff to look forward to.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, peace. That was fun.
All right, pal. Talk soon.